Hello, it is December 22nd, and we are going to have a chat about Gitaly Disaster Recovery. And to get started, we have an agenda. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so I have the first item. This is the issue that we're tracking for this discussion, which is for this quarter to come up with a plan to see like what we can do for Gitaly DR. For a little bit of background, the current DR solution for Gitaly is to use snapshots. We have established that the RPO for snapshot recovery is 6 hours. RTO is about 30 minutes. RPO is the amount of potential data loss, and the reason for that is due to the frequency that we create disk snapshots, which can be up to 6 hours. More typically, I think snapshots are more typically as old as 4 hours. For our test, we had a snapshot that was around, I think, between 1 and 2 hours. It takes about 30 minutes to restore from snapshot. That's the time to create the disk and reconfigure Gitaly. So we have a whole bunch of options laid out for how to improve this, but so far we haven't really narrowed on a solution because none of the approaches so far are ideal, at least for the short term. So I wanted to do this recording to discuss the options with Steve. Steve, you have the next item.
Yeah, so by next item, do you mean BI or B2 or
2A.
2A? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you already went through this, the
Yeah,
RPO and
yeah.
RTO of get data, which is 6 hours, 30 minutes. That makes sense. Do you want to go
Okay.
over through the proposals that we have?
Yeah, we can go through each of them. So we have the GCP backup appliance. This is a relatively new feature that GCP offers. It's an agent that's installed on each server, and a backup appliance that is that Google runs on your behalf. Um, like I said, it's fairly new. We had a discussion, or I had a discussion with Google about this, an asynchronous discussion through a Google Doc to answer some questions. At this time, I don't think it's going to be suitable. One of the main reasons why is that there's no gcloud or Terraform support yet, which makes it a little bit difficult to automate. There's also an additional cost. I approximated around 500 a month per storage node. That's in addition to the storage costs. So you would have the storage costs in object storage for the data that we're backing up, plus 500 per month for each storage node. And I think like the main
So this backs up to cloud storage, and like the 500 a month is only like to install the agent and have it run.
yeah
And
there yeah, and maybe there's some flexibility there, but from my discussions with them, they charge on the source,
mm,
per source disk. So
okay.
as we add
And
more nodes. Mhm.
when we say no gcloud or Terraform support, which part of that are you thinking? Like, is it the agent installation or is it something else?
Just to create the backup appliance
Oh, okay.
and configure it.
Okay, got it.
One of the things that attracted me to this solution was with GCP snapshots, we don't have any control over when full or incremental snapshots are taken. We had a conversation with Google about that, and they said there's really nothing that we can do to control when that happens. And that's the reason why our RPO can be so long, because these full snapshots take a significant longer amount of time compared to the incrementals. With the backup appliance, we have a lot more control over that. So that's one benefit.
Yeah. And so it's 500 per storage node. Okay. I'm thinking about cost reasons as well, because I guess we'll
Hmm.
need, because I'm looking at the regional one, the
Hmm.
regional provision storage one as well, right? And that's also gonna cost us a bunch of money,
Yeah,
depending if we go with SSD based or balanced based and whatnot. So
I see.
um,
Yeah, I think like yeah, we could do the cost calculation if we had tiered storage. We could probably compare the cost of this versus the cost of regional, right?
if we do tiered storage, does this mean that we're gonna have an RPO and RTO different depending on the tier that you are
Uh,
on?
yeah, I think so.
And would business be okay with that?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I
Yeah,
think,
because that is a big caveat, right, with regional
yeah,
disks. Like, it is going to be way too expensive to roll it out everywhere. And if we only roll it out on a license basis, it's going to be different RPO RTOs
y-
um, per
yeah.
license.
I mean, I'm kind of going in with that assumption that we would advertise, different RPO, RTO. Um, I mean, yeah, different RPO, RTO depending on the plan, and that would probably be okay, but maybe we need to explore that a bit further. Yeah,
Yeah.
so for B2, um, yeah, you had some comments here, Steve?
Yeah, I guess we need to benchmark if there's any difference between regional PD balanced and PD balanced, like performance hits or anything like that. Since they're gonna be
Yeah.
different systems, right? So we're gonna need to look at um, how will a Gitaly cluster react to a regional disk. Um, and these two proposals at the moment seem very, how to say, high level, right? Proposals, which makes sense. Um, but uh, I feel like before we take a decision, we need to look at full cost of each type kind of thing. So for the regional, how
Hmm.
much more is this going to cost us with the current setup that we have? Um, and how much is the backup appliance going to cost us? Because like if it's something that we have to do a few clicks once, it's not going to be that big of a deal until
Yeah,
GCP kind of automates that through the API.
yeah.
Um, so I guess we'll have to do a full detailed cost analysis of the current setup, if that makes sense, before we can do a decision on this as well, and have like a benchmarking um, for the regional PD balanced and see like, okay, if we deploy a Gitaly node with regional PD balance, like how quick is it gonna be to recover if something goes wrong there, and things like that.
Right. And the backup appliance in the regional storage isn't, I don't think is a good, like, uh, I mean, obviously the backup appliance still has an RPO issue. When I
Mm-hmm.
asked GCP about like how long these incrementals will take, they said, okay, they're going to probably take around the same amount of time as snapshots. So we're still looking at probably, you know, I, I guess like we need to get an exact number for that, but we're still looking at some data loss.
Yeah,
I assume for the regional, balanced provision storage that it's going to be much less
yeah.
data loss.
So and the action items, I'm writing down something. So if you scroll down a little
Hmm.
bit from your screen, so maybe we need to create some kind of criteria for the best option, right? Which would be costs, cost for current utility fleet. So let's say, okay, for example, the backup storage, the backup appliance is going to cost us X amount of dollars per month with the 89, with the 100 utility nodes that we have right now,
Hmm.
right? Um, RPO, uh, RTO, uh, uh, ignoring story like users license. So let's say, okay, if we deploy regional balance disks to everything, right? We ignore the what license the user is on, how much is that going to cost us, and what will be the RPO and RTO. Is there anything else that we need to look at here? Or is it mostly costs and RPO that we want to optimize for?
Yeah, I mean, I guess performance impact is needs to be taken into consideration. And that includes the agent probably for the backup appliance to see if that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I wonder if there's going to be like, yeah, I think probably the best option here would be to use the DR testing environment, and we can just start testing out the different options.
Yeah, because to me they both, like, I'm only focusing on the first two because the last two are pretty much non-starters, right? Increasing snapshot frequency, that's not possible, and Gitaly cluster re-architecture, that's way ahead of our timeline at the moment. So focusing on those two, to me anyways, I'm not sure about you, but both of them don't seem like a decent option, but we're still not clear which one is the best option, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we can get some more data on that, like get like an Excel sheet or whatever, like this is how much it's gonna cost us on all of them. And then if we want to make regional balance disk storage even more attractive, we can say like, here's gonna be the tiered storage, with caveat that we need to implement all that logic, which is also a bunch of work that needs to be done. And it's more of a cost optimization than anything else, I guess.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how you feel about that.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds good. That sounds good to me. And I think those three things make sense. So I think the first two might be a little bit more straightforward than the performance impact. We're gonna have to I guess set up a test bed.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how to test that, right? Because benchmarking is really expensive in the sense, like not just money wise, but time wise, like getting a baseline and whatnot. I know the Gitaly team is working on creating a bunch of canned repositories, like the Android repository, Chromium repository, and things like that, to get a better benchmarking. Will is working on that, so I can ping them on the issue if you want me to, so they can see what they're doing, like what their progress is on that. Well, will you open up issues to start like running, like create a cluster with PG regional and see how that goes and things like that?
Yeah, I think we need to decide whether we want this to be done in this quarter or next quarter. I'm thinking it might bleed into next quarter, depending on the amount of work. So yeah, I can start opening up issues. Just another thing that occurred to me is for the backup agent, it's possible that this can be done without any downtime, but for regional storage, it's going to require a migration. So there'll be a migration cost that needs to be taken into account.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay. So let's say, so the epic that you have, no, the issue that you have come up with a plan to reduce RPO. So the plan is for the original goal was to put it as a Q4, like close this on Q4 and come up with a plan on Q4, right?
Yeah, I was thinking that I guess the output of this issue would be this new epic with a plan to,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, more like it's a plan to come up with a plan, but
Mm.
it's I think that's probably all we want to do in this quarter. We can probably start in January, but I'm not seeing us getting
Yeah, so what if
finishing
we
that.
create an epic
Yeah,
to benchmark the proposed options, right? So right now we
yeah,
have two proposed options using the backup appliance and the regional disks, and
yeah.
then we can go through that. Another item I have in the agenda is I'm not sure where I saw it, where I put it. Yeah, have we gone through with sessions with GCP on this? Because I know in the past it's on 2C. In the past that
Hmm.
we've had architecture design sessions with them to see what's the best, and like they did enable, like they did help us out as well. And specifically talking about the CI architecture that we had done around 2 years ago.
Yeah, the sessions we've had with them have all been async and are
Mm-hmm.
captured in the docs. And this was them going to the product teams
Mm-hmm.
to answer questions that we had with regard to snapshot frequency and uh, the appliance, the backup appliance. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much all we've done so far. I think we could maybe in this epic we can, once we have like a very high level idea of like cost and cost for the two options and the I guess the impact, then we can take that to them and maybe we can get with a solutions architect to see if there is anything we're missing.
I would say maybe we can go to a solutions architect now. Is that like tell them like, hey, we're looking into the backup plans, we're looking into the regional provision storage. Our main goal is to improve the RTO and RPO for
Hmm.
these. And maybe they can provide us any other hints that they can give us
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I guess we could. I I mean, our conversations with them so far have like led us to this backup appliance
Mm-hmm.
and using snapshots, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. But I don't know if we've talked to really like a solutions architect that's where this is like someone who is knowledgeable in this sort of thing. So
Yeah.
maybe that's worth doing. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think so far we've just been asking them questions on specific
yeah,
features. We never
yeah,
really asked them about the problem that we're trying to solve, right?
yeah.
Um, so maybe we can first do that. That's like the least amount of work we can do in January, right? Because I don't think we're gonna get a call scheduled next week. Um, so yeah, maybe let's do yeah.
Cool. Okay. Uh, Is there anything else we want to discuss here? I think that there probably isn't much to discuss for the Gitaly cluster re-architecture.
Uh, yeah, I
Is
feel
there?
like that is very, very far ahead.
Yeah.
And yeah, like my problem with regional balanced disk storage, I feel like if we want to go with that, we're gonna end up deploying it fleet wide, not third storage, because third storage makes it a lot more complicated, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. So I'm gonna take the action to create the epic and add issues. I'll also add an issue for this meeting with the solutions architect so we can just track it. And I'm expecting like maybe some of this we can start in January, but it's gonna definitely bleed into the next quarter.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense. Is there
cool.
anything else that you need from the Gitaly stable counterpart on this, or is it mostly support? Like, do you
Hmm.
want us to execute on any of this? basically.
I think that's kind of going to be up to whether you have bandwidth to help, like, and I probably don't, but at least probably not in this quarter, but maybe we can work together on some of this stuff. Yeah, and from the Gitaly team, I think what I would like to understand is, where we are with the Raft re-architecture and where we are with tiered storage, if that's in the roadmap. But like, if
Yeah.
it's so far out, maybe it doesn't even matter.
Like tiered storage right now, from what I understand, so the Raft architecture is a few quarters from being developed.
Yeah.
And you know what that means, and it means like it's another few more quarters to deploy it on GitLab.com. So I would say like a year or two away, to be honest, for it to be fully mature for GitLab.com.
Yeah.
And then that implements tiered storage as well, right? So
Yeah.
I feel like that is very far away, unfortunately.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much, John.
Yeah. Thank you. Ciao.